Greetings and welcome back to yet another edition of Electric Avenues Updates. Thanks for joining me week after week. This is episode 99. Wow. Can't believe I've done this many. Um, so, thank you to all of you who continue to watch week after week after week and see sort of my latest updates about what's going on in the world of this store. And I kind of view this our store here as a little bit more of a kind of a typical sort of American record store. You'll see these guys out there who are touting all sorts of like audiophile pressings, and we know we carry some of those, but it's not like a full-on operation. I don't have a team of people to do these videos with. It's much smaller than that. And I don't know. I think that there's a lot that you have to take into consideration when you're watching videos such as this. I was just watching one the other night where there was somebody who I was kind of interested in what they had to say in general, and then they sort of pulled back the curtain, and I saw more of their what their actual business operation was. And now I'm a little less inclined to listen to them. So I think in a way you kind of have to be careful about what you let out into the world too. But not like I'm trying to hide anything. Boy, that sounds really like misleading, doesn't it? No, I just want to say like I try to present a pretty honest picture about what we do here and what comes into the store every week and what I find interesting. So let's get started with this week's new releases. September 16th, 2022. We're heading into fall, right? So I think the big thing, as my big hand comes towards the screen, the big thing this week for jazz heads, the John Coltrane Blue Train reissues done by Kevin Gray, Blue Note. They're considered part of the Tone Poet series. Maybe if I hold it there long enough, this will be the thumbnail. Um, anyway, I don't know exactly how that works. YouTube would have to tell me. Recorded by Rudy Van Gelder, reissue supervised by Joe Harley, mastered by Kevin Gray. Tone Poet series. So we have the mono edition here that they did, and then we also have a stereo edition. And you ask yourself, well, what's the difference? Well, the mono is 1 LP, and it's sort of like it's just part of the Tone Poet series. And then the stereo one is a 2 LP set, includes 7 tracks never before released on vinyl, and it also includes a booklet with never before seen session photos and an essay by Ashley Kahn. They're both manufactured at RTI, mastered from the original analog tapes. Uh, anyway, every time I say that, I feel like, is this a loaded statement? So anyway, get your John Coltrane. You're gonna want that if you're a jazz fan. Big kind of rock new release, Pink Floyd Animals, the 2018 remix. And you ask yourself, well, why are we getting a 2018 remix in 2022? First of all, I love this cover art. It's definitely kind of a different take on that Battersea sort of idea. Um, by the way, mastered by James Guthrie, Joel Plant, and Bernie Grunman. 3 names that you really can't go wrong with. So it's a stereo remix of the album. There was some kind of wrangling going on between Roger Waters and David Gilmour, and it really mostly involved the liner notes. And Roger Waters had said some things about David Gilmour that were not too flattering, and that was sort of what was holding it back mostly. So it's finally here anyway. So it'll be interesting to hear what sort of different take we get on that. Also, another great reissue, Creedence Clearwater Revival live at Royal Albert Hall. Craft Recordings did this one, mastered by Miles Schobel at Abbey Road using half-speed technology. This is the guy that's been doing working on the Beatles Revolver reissue that's coming out. So, and he's also just did all the Roxy Musics. Yeah, so that's a big deal. This is a hits packed set, including Fortunate Son, Bad Moon Rising, and Proud Mary. Mixed and restored by Giles Martin. Again, big name involved with the Beatles stuff. And Sam Okell, who I don't want to leave him out. April 14th, 1970. A very good period for them. Okay, also sort of on the jazz front, we get Miles Davis, The Bootleg Series, Volume 7. And this is 1982 to 1985, is subtitled That's What Happened. Features unreleased gems from the Star People, Decoy, and You're Under Arrest studio sessions. Features names I recognize here: John McLaughlin, Marcus Miller, John Schofield, Mike Stern, J.J. Johnson, Daryl Jones, and Vincent Wilburn. Two LPs on white vinyl. The interesting thing about that is there's a CD edition of this too. And I don't know if you all remember, but back at Record Store Day in April, there was a Miles Davis. And this is what the CD looks like. It's a little box. And the one that came out on Record Store Day was part of this set. So now we'll have about 2/3 of it represented on vinyl. And yeah, so you could have that choice as well. And another Miles Davis piece this week, Get On Down, keeps doing their own series, and this is You're Under Arrest. I think this is early 80s, I want to say. Let's see. One Phone Call, Street Scenes, Human Nature. Oh, it's got his cover of Human Nature, the Michael Jackson song. So, Miles was going a little more like R&B in that period, but some people find that very interesting. So, and then another Craft Recordings thing that we kind of had sort of spaced out on, but it's very cool they're doing this. Chicago, The Blues Today. And this is the series. It was a 3-record set originally. So this is going to be like released in parts. All analog, mastered by Kevin Gray at Coherent Audio. So another good mastering job, pressed on 180 gram at MPO. This says the first volume of Vanguard Records' definitive 3-part blues series. It's got Junior Wells, J.B. Hutto, Otis Spawn. Anyway, that looks pretty cool. I think some people kind of spaced out on that. And then another sort of audiophile jazz thing here, I should show this in this order, is Ella Fitzgerald and Louis Armstrong again. And this is the second one. The first one that was Acoustic Sounds, Verve Acoustic Sounds series, done at Analog Productions. That one came out a few weeks ago. This one is mastered from the original analog tapes at QRP, tip-on jacket. I mean, if you're like a record audiophile person, you'll understand all of those code word terms. Most people are like, just show me the records, right? Anyway, it's very high quality. This actually is 2 LPs, so it's a little more expensive than I think the other one was. They had more material and it spread out over more vinyl. So that's a thought. And then one more Blue Note title we have today, Joe Lovano, and this is called I'm All For You, Ballads. And Hank Jones, George Mraz, Paul Motion, The Ballad Songbook, audiophile vinyl reissues by Kevin Gray at Coherent Audio. I mean, he's just a busy, busy guy, and that's a good sign, because that means you're getting quality work from somebody who knows what they're doing. You could sort of say the same thing about Bernie Grunman, who seems to be everywhere. There's a few others too that get quite a lot of praise. They just can't stop. Charlie Brown, gold foil edition of the Christmas album. So those of you that like, you have the Candy Cane edition, the Snowstorm edition. I showed last week. I was calling it snowflake, but it's actually snowstorm. It's more swooshy than just a flake. This, I believe, is black vinyl, but it's got this cool gold jacket. Last year there was a silver jacket. Yeah, this features Linus and Lucy. Christmas time is here. Really, it's just the fact that the jacket is different and it's embossed, which is kind of cool also. So many choices of Charlie Brown, plus that Great Pumpkin one just came out. And then also on the sort of like jazz or gospel soul tip is the Harlem Gospel Travelers. This is a release on Coal Mine Records. So again, they're going to be really like kind of traditional sort of sounding music, even if it's like new bands or whatever. This says explosive and ecstatic original gospel sounds. And it even tells you mastered by Kevin Blackler, lacquers cut at Well Made Music. I mean, these are pressed at Gotta Groove. These are a little bit less known people, but they do quality work. I see Aaron Frazier's name on here, which he's a member of Duran Jones, I believe. Produced by Eli Paperboy Reed. So I think that's going to be a winner. And if you're into gospel soul, and who isn't? That stuff is incredible. All right, there's some really great new albums by people this week that are not just reissues. The Mars Volta, their self-titled album. This is their first album in about 10 years, and it's a new record. Now, it's not as like, I think it's a 1 LP, maybe. It's not as big and extravagant a package as, say, some of their other albums are. I'm not sure it's quite as long. They said they were going for tighter song structures this time. So, anyway, check that out. Another sort of hard rock band here I'm going to show is Clutch. And this is their new record, Sunrise on Slaughter Beach. Slaughter Beach. Excuse me. Yeah, see, this is the problem with not editing these. Interesting cover, and I want to give you the real news. Anyway, 9 tracks. Really cool cover art. A little different for Clutch, I think, but the name is obviously the font that we're used to, so that's cool. Also in the rock sort of realm, not heavy rock or anything, but Death Cab for Cutie, Asphalt Meadows is their new album. It's been probably, 4 years, I think, since the last one? At least 3. This is the indie exclusive pink vinyl. I think that the Clutch may be indie too, but there's no sticker on it. Anyway. Yeah, so Ben Gibbard and company. Can't wait to hear the new Death Cab for Cutie. Always like their stuff. This is a band that I love, and I'm glad to see them not only releasing their 4th album since their reunion, which they had 5 before they broke up the first time, so we have almost as many now as we did in the first run. But they're a British band, and they don't get a lot of attention or praise in the U.S., and it's really cool that they put this out. Is the new album by the London Suede, or Suede as I call them. And this album is called Autofiction. And they said that they were sort of going for a sound like their first album, where they kind of tap in a little bit more to the sort of rockier, punkier, edgier roots of their sound than the last couple albums that were sort of orchestral. This is on gray vinyl. And yeah, I've heard a couple of songs. They were great. One thing I will say, though, is weird is they actually printed the name of the band and the song titles on the cover here, which is fine unless you prefer just seeing it as Suede and not the London Suede, and then you get like that's actually printed on the cover. But they did manage to keep the cost down a little bit. Usually their albums had been imports and they were getting really expensive. And they just announced a tour with Manic Street Preachers in the U.S., which are 2 bands that don't get over here very often. So might want to get out and see them on this tour. Would be kind of cool. Marcus Mumford, his new album, self-titled. This is his debut solo record. Features Clairo, Monica Martin, Phoebe Bridgers, and Brandy Carlisle. This is the bespoke retail edition, red transparent vinyl. And I've heard that he kind of, what I've been reading, this stuff on this album, is that he really delves deep into problems of his past regarding things like, abuse as a child or young person, stuff like that. So you might want to check it out because I think it's going to show a slightly different side of Marcus from what you're used to with Mumford and Sons. Okay, next album here. Ondara, JS Ondara, now going by Ondara, I guess. 2022 edition of his new album called Spanish Villager Number 3. It's interesting how it almost sort of looks like a Jethro Tull album cover. It's a new project, and the songs have interesting titles. An Alien in Minneapolis, A Blackout in Paris, A Seminar in Tokyo, A Shakedown in Berlin, A Drowning in Mexico City. That's the first half of it. So it's on Verve Forecast. So it doesn't feel like 180 gram, but Verve doesn't usually send their records out to janky pressing plants or anything like that. Okay. Little Big Town, Mr. Sun. Well, the interesting thing about this to me, I mean, besides the fact that, I think Little Big Town are one of the better country bands, and you don't see them on vinyl very often. So, at least not when they put out a new release. So, they're kind of getting, on the country scene, I think they're getting a lot more hip and clued into that. But the one thing I will say here is I get a record that's got a Barnes & Noble exclusive sticker on it, which shows sky blue vinyl. I mean, that's fine and all. I don't know why I have to know that was a Barnes & Noble thing, but 16 new songs, and it's a double. It's on blue vinyl, like I said. I want to check that out. I kind of like them. I think they're a pretty good band. Whitney, Whitney Spark. Whitney is sort of an alt. I don't want to say alt country, but they're kind of in that vein, Americana type group. And this has a really interesting cover for them, a little different. It's all these prisms, limited edition milky white vinyl. Milky white seems to be the color, right? Because there's also the new Jack Harlow. And Jack Harlow's sort of the young rapper of the moment, I suppose, in the pop world. He's got Drake on this album. The album's called Come Home, the Kids Miss You. And it's also on limited edition milky clear vinyl. Well, this is milky clear. That was milky white. I don't know. Anyway, there's a song on here called Dua Lipa. A song called Dua Lipa, go figure. Another sort of Americana rock guy, not like Jack Harlow's Americana, but has been around for a while. Rhett Miller, member of the Old 97s. This is his new record, sky blue color vinyl. So he's more like Little Big Town, where there's with sky blue. This is called The Misfit. Looks like 10 tracks, 12, 11 tracks. So Rhett does quality work. I've always liked him. He's one to kind of watch or follow along his career. Michelle Branch, it's her new album, The Trouble with Fever. This album is sort of arriving under kind of a shroud of controversy. It's on None Such Records, which, kind of makes sense because she used to be on Warner and they're kind of linked up. But the big deal was that, about a month ago, she was arrested for spousal abuse. She's married to Patrick Carney, the drummer of Black Keys. There was some sort of altercation at home involving I don't know, things that I won't get into here. But just the charges were eventually dropped, but Patrick actually produced this album, so or co-produced it with her. So I kind of feel like, unfortunately, they're sort of living out this public drama right at the time that she's getting ready to release her own album. So they have a kid too, so that's unfortunate when children get involved. And they've only been married for maybe 5 years or so. Uh, Black Keys are obviously quite successful. So, and Michelle has been very successful in the past. She's more like she's not pushing for like the massive hits anymore, and that's fine. Anyway, Jessica Hoop, Order of Romance. I love this cover. It's beautiful. It's this flamingo art, and Jessica is this is on limited edition Red Ripple vinyl. Memphis Industries is her label now. She's done a lot of work with like Elbow and Guy Garvey. She's been on his records. Really great voice. I am curious about this. I want to hear it. Check her out. Another great up and coming little female project here. The Beths. I don't know if it's all women. But I have some customers who really like these guys. This is on Car Park Records. They've been putting out album after album after album, so which is good right now, because if you're going to keep in people's minds, you really need to do that. This says a great guitar rock band from New Zealand, NPR Music. So this is pressed on canary yellow vinyl, includes a digital download. So cover is interesting with this big fish on it, and then everything is sort of embossed. So Skunk Baxter, Speed of Heat. You might recognize him from Steely Dan. And yeah, it's his debut solo record by this legendary artist. Steely Dan and Doobie Brothers alumnus. There's pictures on the back here in the studio. Yeah, produced by C.J. Vanston and Jeff Skunk Baxter. The first song is called Ladies from Hell. Well, okay. All right. Excuse me. Black Angels. Wilderness of Mirrors. Great cover art. Black Angels always do sort of like dark sort of alternative rock, psychedelic. This is Opaque Ocean Blue and Opaque Red, a 2 LP set. Their stuff is never like super cheap. I think it's because of the label that they're on and the care that they take in getting their stuff pressed. It's awesome cover art. Okay. Hey, Hell Froze Over. Can't believe this is actually happening. Aaliyah, I Care For You. This was the compilation that came out right towards the end, or right after she passed. And this is a really good, like, sort of collection. Features the previously unreleased song Miss You. First time on vinyl, certified platinum. If you're into Aaliyah, though, you might want to grab this one also, or instead. This is her ultimate Aaliyah. This was the second and final compilation album, and this is actually a 3 LP set. First time pressed on vinyl. Features hits from her studio albums, film career, and other performances. So these have songs like One in a Million, If Your Girl Only Knew, Rock the Boat, We Need a Resolution, More Than a Woman, I Care For You, Back and Forth, Are You That Somebody, and yeah, Try Again. Great stuff. I mean, what a loss. You know, it's like, as much as like Amy Winehouse was a loss to sort of like retro British soul, Aaliyah's death was also quite a loss to the world of rhythm and blues. And I will never diminish her contributions, even though It's unfortunate her connection with R. Kelly at this point, but all right, Taking Back Sunday. We got a couple reissues from them. One is on Craft Recordings, and the other I think is well, they both are Craft. I don't know why they didn't put a sticker on this one. This one is Louder Now, and it's like kind of a thin sort of 1 LP edition. This one is a 20th anniversary on Silver Smoke vinyl. Craft Recordings features the hits "Cute Without the E" and "You're So Last Summer." This is a 2 LP or 2 record set, includes a bonus 10-inch with with 4 previously unreleased demos. Let's see, Rina Sawayama. This is her new record. She's been on like I think Saturday Night Live recently. Interesting artist, sort of R&B pop. Um, I love the cover art. It's almost like kind of Bjorky in a way, you know. I believe she's got some Asian ancestry. The Lost Boys soundtrack. They've had this out a few times recently. This is on colored vinyl. Friday Music. I believe Friday Music is always Joe Ragosa. Well, he takes credit for it, but I don't think he remasters them. Jonathan Richman, Rock and Roll with the Modern Lovers. This is a reissue on colored vinyl. And then the Kinks, the first album on black vinyl. And we've had this before on colored. And there's going to be more Kinks records you'll be seeing in the coming weeks. Couple of CDs I want to flash up here. The Who, HU, they're like a metal sort of metal band, Rumble of Thunder. And Smith Kotzen, which is Better Days and Nights live tracks, Better Days EP. Before I go, I just want to mention, hopefully you've noticed as of yesterday, the Record Store Day Black Friday list was posted on the website. I would go check that out. Go to recordstoreday.com and you'll see it there. I was just going to bring up a few things that I think were things to look for there that were some of the more highly sort of sought after stuff. There are a couple David Bowie pieces. There was an EP from The Next Day, and there was also Little Drummer Boy with Bing Crosby on a 12-inch. The Cure's Wish is listed as a picture disc. I know a lot of people are looking for that album, and I don't know. They keep talking about moving the dates on that, so I'm hoping that that actually is coming that day, but I can't say for 100% whether or not that's going to happen. But for now, it looks like it's happening because it's on that list and there's nothing that says otherwise. Dream Widow is a thing that Dave Grohl did with Foo Fighters, and well, it's not really a Foo Fighters project, but the music was used in his horror film that the Foo Fighters were recently in. So that's what that is. If you look up the description. Duran Duran Live 1982 at Hammersmith. That's been out on like a video before. I don't know if I've ever, well, I've never seen it on vinyl. So that's something to look out there for. They're also reissuing their last record, Future Past, that day as a double color vinyl edition featuring all the tracks that were left off the last vinyl edition. So it's the complete, and it also includes their cover of David Bowie's 5 Years, which is excellent. Brian Ferry's Taxi, which is a great covers album. I don't think I've ever seen that on vinyl. Ghosts Impera on a picture disc, popular album. Grateful Dead and Jerry Garcia Band both have box sets listed for that. Motley Crue, Girls, 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 a tour EP replication. Willie Nelson live at Budokan. There's a Red Hot Chili Peppers Return of the Dream Canteen, which is their new album, and they're going to do like they did with Unlimited Love that came out earlier this year, where there's a special Record Store Day edition. There's a 4 LP edition of Todd Rundgren's Something Anything. There are albums from Sparks, Missing Persons, and Ultravox. If you're into new wave stuff, the Sparks and Missing Persons are live from way back. Sparks, I think, is 74, so it's about the time of Kimono My House, and Missing Persons is 81, so right before Spring Session M was released. Ringo Starr, there's like 5 records there, which is odd because there's no McCartney. I mean, I guess it's all Beatles Revolver, right? And no McCartney and no John Lennon that I saw, no George Harrison, but lots of Ringo. There's a Cheech and Chong 7-inch Christmas. There's a Tony Bennett Lady Gaga live. That looks really good. It's not cheap. I think it's a fairly large recording. And Jimi Hendrix Burning Desire looks like a great sort of bootleg that's been kind of cleaned up and dusted up for release. And there's a couple releases from Jefferson Airplane live and Janis Joplin live with Jorma Kaukonen, and I think that's like early demos for them. And Mingus and Monk both have records coming out, and you'll see even records from Fountains of Wayne and which is Traffic and Weather. That one is sort of, I don't know if I've seen that on vinyl ever. And the Dead Milkmen have one of their albums is being reissued as sort of a nice addition. There are a ton of things on there. There's probably, again, like 150 titles. And they say that they're going to be adding more to them. So I'll talk more about that as we get closer to Black Friday. You've got a lot to think about with Beatles Revolver coming out and a bunch of other things. In the meantime, I think there's another Jimi Hendrix live that was announced this week too. So the hits just keep on coming. They try to keep up with stuff. Taylor Swift is around the corner. I don't know. I'll have some things to say about that when we get closer too, but we will have it this time. So anyway, thank you all very much for watching. And again, I really appreciate that week after week watching this mug deliver whatever's the latest information I have. So take care. Have a great weekend. It's going to be beautiful around here. Get out and buy some records. Good time to do it. All right. Oh, and we have a few of the Turnstile back in stock. I forgot to say. Glow On, a really great album. If you're into sort of like new kind of like punk alternative with a twist, I suppose, is in a nutshell. Great talented band though. All right, thanks. Take care. Have a good weekend. Peace.